You're watching The 7 from WATE 6 on your side.
Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to The 7. Let's get a look at the big 7 stories happening right now. Topping the list for us tonight, there are 2 active fires currently burning in Roane County near Rockwood. These fires have been burning all day with crews going back and forth, battling each, and they are finally starting to fizzle out, we understand. The mile marker 343 fire is now 100% contained, while crews are still battling the Airport Road fire. That fire started early this morning around 2:30 and has grown to about 90 acres. Now, within 30 minutes of this new fire being called in, forestry crews were on site assessing the damage and what their best move was in order to fight the blaze.
In this fire, we used a combination of bulldozers to install a lot of fire breaks in between the hard roads. And then we also had hand crews that were working around the bulldozers, just, scratching in lines where the bulldozers cannot go.
And there may be some thick haze in the sky from the smoke of these fires, but Rockwood residents should not be worried because the Division of Forestry is confident right now in getting these fires out as quickly as possible. The division will also, we understand, be available to give residents support, as can the state of Tennessee if necessary. Sevier County's Emergency Management Agency is also issuing a high fire danger warning today as well. They posted these graphs on Twitter saying the Tennessee Division of Forestry will not issue burn permits today. We're told this is due to windy conditions and a low humidity percentage. Next on our list for you, we are hearing from police after a man accused of not only stalking a woman, but also making what some consider to be disturbing comments about women as a whole was arrested. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office says Jacob Yurkis, who you just saw just a moment ago on your screen, made threats toward a former co-worker. Now, authorities later discovered Yurkis was also posting threatening videos on social media, including YouTube. Authorities say the threats not only got their attention, but also the attention of the Federal Bureau of Investigation Joint Terrorism Task Force. Tuesday, authorities took Yurkis into custody on charges of aggravated stalking and harassment.
We thought it was very odd that he wouldn't have just went away. For him to actually come to the police department and start talking about this event, which was all about him and what he had just done. And what he had been doing since June of this year.
Police have reason to believe there may be other victims. If that is you or someone you know, you are urged to contact the Lenoir City Police Department. Next on our Big 7 list for you tonight, we have new information on a deadly shooting. Police in Greenville telling us about 3 arrests with all 3 suspects under the age of 18. We first told you about this at the end of last month. 2 people shot along Old Asheville Highway. Both were taken to the hospital. One of the victims, Juan Trauscher, died from his injuries. Now, police and the TBI spent the last week and a half investigating this shooting. Because the 3 suspects are underage, though, officers cannot release their names or other information, but the department is thanking the public for helping out with getting them the information they needed. Next, we are hearing from Representative Gloria Johnson tonight after she was one of Tuesday night's big winners on election night. The Democrat faced off against David Posey in the State House District 90 race, securing 58% of the vote compared to Posey's 42%. Johnson now talking about her experience campaigning in the newly drawn District 90 line following redistricting. Now, she tells 6 News, even with the changes, she had great interaction with people in her district while campaigning door to door. But for her, one of the most important things was running a positive campaign.
I come from a teacher's background, so it's, if you want to get good things to happen, you be positive and you accentuate the positives and what you want to do and what you bring to the table instead of being negative. Unfortunately, a lot of the negative campaigning doesn't change minds, it just kind of suppresses the vote because it discourages people from getting involved. They think politics is ugly, I don't want to get involved.
Johnson previously served as the representative for Tennessee House District 13 before the census-related redistricting. She served in the House from 2013 to 2015, and then in 2018, she won a rematch against Eddie Smith and has served in the House since January 8th, 2019. Another state house that we followed closely for you last night was the District 18 race. Here, Elaine Davis, a Republican, came out on top with 54% of the votes to Gregory Kaplan's 46%. We covered a number of other races from across East Tennessee as well last night, and if you missed any of our election results, you can go back and go through them You can find it all at WATE.com. We have it for you there. Next on the 7, 2 Republican lawmakers in Tennessee have now filed a new bill that aims to limit gender transition treatment available for children. If this law passes the General Assembly next year, it would prohibit health care providers from performing medical procedures if they enable a minor to identify with an identity inconsistent with the minor's sex. Now, in the legislation, the term medical procedure includes both surgery and prescribing, administering, or dispensing any drug or device to a human being. So according to that definition, it would be illegal for a medical provider to prescribe hormone blockers from here on out. Republicans have largely been in favor of the legislation since a Nashville commentator accused Vanderbilt of performing transgender surgeries for profit motives. Democrats, well, they disagree.
I was alarmed by that, and I thought, made a very quick decision that we need to pursue legislation to make sure that we ban this in the state of Tennessee.
Well, I think you have, some politicians who think that they won or have an opportunity to position themselves in a Republican primary, and they see an opportunity to score political points.
We did reach out to Vanderbilt Medical Center as it was at the center of what started this debate. The hospital says it has no comment, but we did get a statement today from the Tennessee branch of the American Civil Liberties Union, that group condemning the bill, saying it will fight the legislation. Big announcement for our next Big 7 story. Hitachi Zosen Nova is expanding its North American headquarters. The headquarters based here in Knoxville. The move will create about 90 new jobs in the process. The company moved from Georgia to Tennessee about 2 years ago. This new expansion comes in the form of a $6.6 million investment.
Well, I think it's a huge economic impact. I mean, with salaries well above $100,000 on average, and 90 new jobs, that's a huge economic benefit to Knoxville.
The new jobs being created with this expansion will support procurement and construction projects. And rounding out the Big 7 tonight, we're continuing to count down to the CMAs. Lori Tucker camped out along the red carpet for us tonight, talking to some of country music's biggest names, one of which Knoxville's own Kelsey Ballerini.
As we continue to wait for more stars to walk down the red carpet as we get ready for the 56th annual CMAs here in Nashville, we want to let you know that we had a chance to talk with Kelsey Ballerini, our Knoxville hometown girl, about her video and her single that's up for Best Single. It's amazing, and it's about Knoxville. You know, she came back to town to do that music video, and we were so excited to get to follow her for a little bit and talk to her about her new reflections about what Knoxville means to her. Let's listen.
I was in my hometown for a long time because in my brain it was the place that was keeping me from being in Nashville and doing this and pursuing my dream. And so for the longest time, like I would go home to see my dad, but like I wouldn't spend a lot of time there. And as I've gotten older and wanted to like learn more about myself and grow up eloquently, every time I go home, like I find so much more of myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm like that, or like, oh, that feels really comfortable to me, that's why. And so I just have like such a beautiful love for my hometown now, and so does Kenny. So to be able to share that and honor the place that let us go to do this with someone that I grew up listening to, it's just like there's a lot of layers that make it special.
We're excited to hear more from Kelsey Ballerini. We'll be watching. And, you know, she mentioned Kenny. You know who she's talking about, of course, another East Tennessee favorite, Kenny Chesney, who collaborated with her on that wonderful song. We'll be watching tonight, and we'll send it back to you.
All right, Lori, thank you. And don't forget, you'll be able to watch this year's CMA Awards show right here on WAT 6 on your side. Everything begins right after the 7 with live from the red carpet at 7:30. The awards show, by the way, begins at 8 o'clock.